months of controversy over the issue. The company and the Bristol branch of the Transport and General Workers Union have agreed that the only qualification for recruits, regardless of colour, should be that they are suitable for the job. 10 coloured men have applied for jobs and will be interviewed shortly. Another mining accident in the United States. It's feared that 25 men were killed in an explosion in a potash mine at Moab in Utah, about 250 miles south of Salt Lake City. The men were building the mine when they were trapped half a mile underground in a tunnel off the main shaft, one of the deepest sunk in North America. Rescuers had to stop work today because they met poisonous gas. Meanwhile, at Hazleton in Pennsylvania, attempts are still going on to rescue John Bower, the last of 3 miners trapped 330 feet underground. A drill's broken through now, but he's been without food for 15 days, and rescuers hold out little hope for him.
2 miners were hoisted out early yesterday. 28-year-old Henry Brown was first. Covered in grease.
Go ahead, please.
Scotland Yard this afternoon issued this photograph of 34-year-old Mrs. Cherry White in connection with their inquiries into the great train robbery. The police had previously issued this picture of her husband, James Edward White, whom they wish to interview. The police say Mr. and Mrs. White may be together and may have a baby poodle with them. Buckinghamshire police returned to Leatherslade Farm today and took away a tin of yellow paint which was found there by the owner, Mr. Bernard Brixton. They believe it was used to paint the lorry which carried the mail bags from Cheddington to the farmhouse after the raid. And in Essex, police armed with search warrants swooped on farms in districts around Ongar. No arrests were made. A letter was sent to the Home Secretary, Mr. Brooke, today, asking him to release 19-year-old Mrs. Patricia Kearney from prison. Mrs. Kearney and her husband Robert were jailed for 28 days last week after they'd married while she was a ward of court. The letter is being taken to Mr. Brooke in St. Thomas's Hospital in London, where he's recovering after an ankle operation. British European Airways have made a substantial profit after being in the red for 2 years. Last year they lost more than £250,000, making a total loss of £1,753,366 over 2 years. The company's deficit for 1961 to 62 was its first for 8 years. But profits for the first 4 months of this year have already reached £3.5 million, and they're expected to be up to £7 million by the end of the summer. Lord Douglas, BEA's chairman for 15 years, is retiring next March. Richard Dixon asked him about BEA's prospect for the future.
Well, I very hope indeed we are having a very
Can you... 2 of the 5 prisoners who escaped from Nottingham jail 8 days ago during a game of cricket were recaptured in Lincoln early this morning. They were found inside a laundry after a policeman on patrol had noticed a back window open. Both men were serving long sentences of preventive detention. The Jockey Club today continued its inquiry into the alleged doping of Relco, the Derby winner, and other horses. The principal witnesses in the Relco inquiry included the Duke of Norfolk, who was representing the Epsom stewards, and François Maté, the horse's trainer, who was accompanied by his wife. As Monsieur Maté went through the door, he said, "I hope it's the last time I shall be here." Madame Dupré, wife of Relco's owner, arrived by taxi to find herself besieged by photographers. The Jockey Club is expected to announce its findings this evening on some of the cases it's been considering. Alfredo Di Stefano, the Spanish soccer star who was kidnapped over the weekend by Venezuelan bandits, will be playing again tomorrow for Real Madrid in Caracas. The team announced this today after Di Stefano had been held for 56 hours without sleep because the anti-government terrorists wanted publicity. He's now under heavy guard in the Spanish ambassador's residence. Alfred Hitchcock's latest spine chiller, The Birds, is ready for its London premiere tomorrow night. The film tells what happens when the bird world declares war on humans, and its star, apart from the 28,000 birds, is Swedish-born Tippi Hedren. It's her first film. Gerald Seymour talked to her in London Park today. Film. Yvonne Buckingham, a British actress who takes the part of Miss Keeler, flew off to Copenhagen this morning, where filming will start on September the 2nd. The film will be called The Christine Keeler Story, and the makers expect it to be ready by the end of October. Meanwhile, Egypt is about to make a film which will be about both Miss Keeler and the Suez Crisis. She looks terribly like her, doesn't she? Doesn't she? Sorry. Sorry, when? Going to rehearse it, are we?
We will be, yes.
Two South African political refugees who escaped from Johannesburg police headquarters